Today I effed up by kissing the top of my baby daughter's head. A little over a week ago, I kissed the top of our 7.5 weeks old baby's head. It was a single, light kiss, and she had a thick head of hair with no obvious scratches or other skin imperfections. But I had cold sores on my lips at the time. We have been really careful to avoid giving our children cold sores or otherwise pass along the herpes virus, HSV-1. We have maintained a strict, no kissing on the lips or face rule between everyone and our children. And I do not kiss my wife on the lips or other regions while I have cold sores. But just a few hours ago, our 7.5 weeks old baby was diagnosed with HSV-1. She developed sores starting from where I kissed the top of her head within 24 to 48 hours of the kiss. We weren't sure what the sores were initially, so we brought her to a walk-in medical clinic for assessment. They took a swab sample for testing and provided a prescription for topical, skin-applied, antibiotics while suggesting the sores could be due to a bacterial infection. But after 48 hours the sores were continuing to grow and spread across the top of her head. So we phoned the clinic and our family doctor, but they still had no test results. They then provided a prescription for oral antibiotics. But after 24 hours the sores were continuing to grow and were now across her forehead. We still had no test results, so my wife took her to our family doctor. But our family doctor did not know the cause of the sores either and suggested we take her to the Children's Hospital Emergency. We took our baby to Children's Emergency that evening. They took a look at the sores and listened to our concerns. They also took swab, blood, and urine samples to try to determine the cause of the sores, bacterial or viral, and to determine if it had spread to other organs or systems. They tried to take a sample near the spinal cord as well to check if it was in her central nervous system, but they were unable to collect what they needed due to her small size, 10 pounds, and movement during their attempts. While waiting for the results from the hospital, we were informed that the test results from the walk-in clinic showed only a culture of normal skin bacteria. But the hospital staff told this could be due to them collecting the sample from the surface and not opening up the sore to collect. She was admitted to hospital and started on intravenous antiviral and antibiotic medication. After spending 48 hours in the hospital, we were informed that she has contracted HSV-1 and that the sores may reoccur in the same region it started originally, top of head, or around the mouth. Different infectious disease doctors gave varying options on where the sores may appear in the future. They told us that she will need at least a week of intravenous antiviral as she is too young to take oral antiviral. My mom was infected with HSV-1 when she was in grade 6, likely from her dad, and was hospitalized for a month. Apparently they thought at the time that she would die from it due to the severity of the response. And my older brother and I both were infected with HSV-1 around that same age or younger from our mom, but we have had only recurring cold sores with no other major symptoms. I seem to get cold sores almost exclusively when I have a lack of sleep, and thus put stress on the body leading to a compromised immune system. Now our little girl has them despite our best efforts, and it breaks my heart. We are concerned about it now being easier to spread to our other children, and the possibility of it spreading to my wife's breasts, which would affect her ability to breastfeed. Especially concerning if we have more children in the future. And I have found cold sores to be a cause of physical, emotional, and social discomfort in my own life, so I am very sorry to have passed it along to my daughter. I had no idea that HSV-1 could be spread through contact with skin. Growing up, I only heard of it being through mucous membranes, lip-to-lip kissing, sharing cups and utensils, etc. And a few years ago I read that it could spread to breasts or genitals despite not being HSV-2, genital herpes. Looking it up online now, I am seeing that they suggest not kissing babies under 28 days to avoid causing neonatal herpes. But what I was reading did not make it clear that kissing any part of the baby could spread the virus. The doctor stated it is possible to spread through kissing the top of her head, but prior to diagnosis said he would be surprised if it was HSV-1 because she was not under 28 days. She was 6.5 weeks at time of kiss. She was full-term, healthy weight with no complications during pregnancy or postpartum. According to the info I found online, herpes on an infant or child can have life-changing consequences aside from the sores, such as blindness and brain damage, and can often be fatal. Apparently the majority of the general population likely has herpes, but a lot of people are asymptomatic, i.e. have never had any cold sores. And herpes can be spread within the body or to others whether or not there are sores present at the time. although it makes it more likely to spread to others if there are sores. My wife informed of a case. There is at least one article online from 2008 regarding it, where herpes had spread to an infant and they were hospitalized. But a week after the infant's sores were no longer present, the baby died, due to the virus spreading within the body. So I am sitting here in the hospital full of regret over that single kiss, and hoping that she is able to make a full recovery. But I am glad that she did develop visible sores, and that I suggested along the way that the sores could be due to herpes, because they were able to diagnose and treat the virus relatively early, which may have prevented it from spreading to other regions of the body. I am also glad that our baby was healthy on seemingly all account prior to this incident, because it would likely affect her worse had there been other compromising factors. And I am hopeful that effective and safe therapeutic and preventative vaccines for the virus will be developed in the near future. I do not want to cause unnecessary or excessive fear among others, but I want to share my experience and raise awareness of the risk. I wish I knew what I do now a couple of weeks ago. I would take back that kiss in a heartbeat. Edit. I do intend on discussing management of the virus with my doctor soon to see what methods may be available, safe, and effective for me in my efforts to reduce the risk of spreading the virus. My mom kissed us on the lips frequently growing up. We would kiss her lips and share drinks with her as long as she did not have an active sore. When I was 14 years old or so, I told her I did not want to kiss her on the lips anymore. She expressed her sadness regarding these wishes and said that I must not love her anymore. I do not know exactly when or how I was infected. Cold sores were sort of accepted as being normal within my family, despite my mom's extreme reaction to the virus as an older child. And until recently, we had other family members insist that kissing children and babies, including on the lips, is normal and needed, and that it isn't a big deal to spread cold sores. When I say that the virus spread despite our best efforts, I do not mean to say that we did everything we could have and should have done. What I mean to say is that we were actively trying to stop the spread of the virus given what we had known at the time. Myself and my wife have done some of our own research regarding the virus at different points in our lives, yet we still did not know what we do now. If the results of my actions, which I have shared here, is expected to you given the circumstances, I am glad. But my target audience with this post is people who may not have expected what we have experienced. Update. I shared my story here about 10 months ago. I wrote the story in the hospital the morning after our daughter was diagnosed with HSV-1, and while waiting for my wife to wake up. To summarize, I kissed the top of our 6.5-week-old baby on the top of her skull while I had a cold sore, and it resulted in her being infected with herpes, HSV-1/ the cold sore virus. I did not know that infection could occur through regular skin. Growing up, I was only taught that it could spread through contact with the mouth or lips, and I only learned about infection being possible to genitals or breasts as an adult. Prior to the kiss, I think I may also have been unaware about the seriousness of infections to babies, and was trying to prevent its spread to our children solely based on the discomfort and embarrassment I endured in my own life as a result of developing cold sores. Our daughter was provided with intravenous antiviral treatment for 1 week in the hospital before we were discharged. We were given a prescription for 1 week's worth of oral antiviral medication to be taken from home, and had a follow-up appointment with the infectious disease doctor around a week after discharge. Although they were unable to take a sample of spinal fluid to check if HSV had spread to our daughter's central nervous system, they thought that the virus was likely only skin deep in her case. And we were told that we would need to come back to the children's hospital immediately if the sores presented themselves again. I assume at least until she is 1 or 2 years old. Our daughter has had 1 or 2 outbreaks of HSV-1 since we initially left the hospital. The first of those outbreaks was around 3 weeks after leaving the hospital and resulted in a hospital stay overnight, followed by about 2 months of oral antivirals to be provided from home. And the other time was around 1 month after using up the antivirals from the previous outbreak, but the sore went away on its own within 24 hours. We were going to pick up antivirals for the last time, but all pharmacies were closed, so we decided to wait until the morning. But the sore was almost fully gone by the morning. Both recurrences showed up at the same location as the initial sore and kiss, top of skull. My wife met with an infectious disease doctor in February to discuss our daughter's case, and the doctor said that our baby got really lucky. There are limited treatment options, and our baby's case was very minor compared to most. She seems to be a very happy and healthy baby. In my opinion, Since she was about midway through her stay in the hospital, she seemed to be in a happier place, and is still there as long as she isn't wanting to be held or nursed by her mom. My wife and I both agree that she has been the happiest of our babies. And she is just about to celebrate her first birthday. I have posted this story to a number of different subreddits to try to raise awareness, especially for parents or soon-to-be parents. Many users have expressed gratitude for the posts because they were unaware regarding the dangers of HSV or how infectious it is. So I am glad to have possibly helped prevent some similar or worse cases from occurring. The user also commented fairly recently on an older post of mine suggesting that I share it over and over because they think the information is valuable. So I thought I should do an update post here to help spread the info some more and give an update to anyone who saw my earlier post. TLDR. I gave my baby daughter a single kiss on the top of her head, and now she has herpes, HSV1. But she seems to be doing okay. And I have been trying to help others avoid a similar or worse situation.